Good morning, pilgrims. It's a Tuesday morning. I say good morning and welcome to today's edition of Good Day Grenada. I'm George Grant. Today happens to be the 18th day of June. Yeah, 18th day. Carnival is not that far away. And a lot of people, let me tell you, Carnival is into high gear. A lot of people they haven't just started planning for Carnival, they're actually reveling already, from what I hear. This morning, we're not going to be talking Carnival, but we're going to be talking about a couple of very, very important issues to us. And it would be so nice if more attention was paid to these issues than Carnival. Yeah? I am going to bring to you this morning a piece which was published on the GRENADABROADCAST.com website only last night. It's the most recent edition of the NDC's Heartbeat, written by Claudette Joseph. And it is captioned, "They've started a fight and cannot afford it, end it, or win it." You're probably scratching your head. What's that one about? Hey, you won't have to wait much longer. Hang in there. That's the first thing we're going to tackle this morning. Then, how many times have you heard the word healthcare mentioned in recent times? Well, it continues to be under attack here in Grenada. And so far, no end in sight. We do have major issues, and like I said at the top of the program, it would be so great if we would start paying a little bit more attention to things that really matter. The segment that I'm going to do is captioned "Grenada's Healthcare System Under Attack." Again. Yeah. I'm going to share something interesting with you. We also have the national report this morning, and this being a Tuesday morning, you notice the big smile on my face? He's going to be here, sitting in that chair right next door to me here. Mr. Ray Roberts, at large. He's coming, and he's not going to be able to spend a lot of time with us this morning because I understand that he has to go on down to do a presentation at the National Stadium. So we're going to let him off here just before 10 o'clock, all right? Now, let's get down to brass tacks. The following is this week's edition of the NDC Heartbeat, which was published last night on the Grenada Broadcast website. It was penned by Claudette Joseph. I quote, "The NDC in government always seeks to take decisions and actions that are in the best interests and benefits the people of Grenada in the long term. Good governance and propriety in office are hallmarks of which we are proud. From 1996 onwards, the people of Grenada have been saddled with the burden of tens of millions of dollars in debt, arising from poor judgment, personal vendettas, recklessness, and plain arrogance of two men, Keith Mitchell and Gregory Bowen, in the exercise of their duties as servants of the people. Repeated losses in court, including many involving victimized public servants, have not taught them a lesson. It is now a matter of public record that Mitchell and Bowen have been the two most expensive ministers ever for the country. The government has already lost round one in the senseless battle against Grenada, when our High Court on May 3rd refused government's application for a stay of the constitutional case Grenada filed against it in relation to certain aspects of the new Electricity Supply Act 2017. The case before the International Tribunal has started. Based on our knowledge of the facts, the NDC warns the people of Grenada to brace ourselves for our biggest loss yet. An ultimate loss for government will cost us in excess of $200 million. The beef with GRENLAC is based on a personal vendetta of one man, Gregory Bowen, who has been allowed over the years to carry on with that vendetta, ultimately dragging the Grenadian taxpayer in. In March 1991, the Worrell Commission of Inquiry into the conduct and management of several state-owned enterprises published its report. All of the entities investigated by the Commission were under the watch of Dr. Keith Mitchell as Minister of Works from 1984 to 1989. GRENLAC was one of those state-owned entities. Yes. At chapter 3 of the report, readers will find just how highly incompetent Gregory Bowen was as manager of GRENLAC. At pages 98 and 99, the Commission noted how often certain names, including Gregory Bowen, featured as being involved in the enterprise under investigation. The Commission questioned whether the national interest was served by those individuals and found it remarkable that certain conduct was not reported to the police for criminal investigation. On September 14, 1994, the NDC government officer Nicholas Brathwaite sold 50% of the GRENLAC shares to two companies, GPP and WRB, for $30 million. By that time, Gregory Bowen, as manager, had GRENLAC flat on its face, in shambles. Power outages were the norm, and the company was riddled with debt. The NDC government got the best deal that could be obtained. Given his poor track record as manager, it was no surprise that Gregory Bowen did not survive as GRENLAC's manager under the new arrangement. He was out the door in short order and never got over the fact that the new majority owners had no tolerance for his ineptitude. Leading up to the June 1995 elections, Keith Mitchell and his party campaigned against the GRENLAC sale, claiming it was a terrible deal and promised that they would do it over if they won the election. In the spirit of good governance and transparency, and being confident that Mitchell and Bowen could not secure a better deal, the NDC government decided to hold off on finalizing the sale and bringing the new Electricity Supply Act into force until after the election. The door was left open for whoever won the election to renegotiate the deal. NNP won the 1995 elections, and Mitchell set about trying to renegotiate the deal. In addition, he wasted taxpayers' money on a commission of inquiry into the sale of the GRENLAC shares. The NNP could not believe that good patriots like Joan Purcell and Lori Wilson, FCCA, would negotiate a $30 million deal and not take a kickback. Of course, Mitchell's commission found no wrongdoing because the money Mrs. Purcell and others were accused of pocketing was sitting in a Government of Grenada bank account at the NCCB, now known as Republic Bank. That commission turned out to be wasted tax dollars and a witch hunt. On February 4th, 1997, Parliament passed a motion authorizing the Mitchell administration to take steps to ensure that the terms of the sale of the Grenada shares by the previous administration, quote, are renegotiated in the best interest of the government and people of Grenada, unquote. Senators Lawrence Joseph, the same Gregory Bowen, Jocelyn Whiteman, Patrick Bubb, Roger Addicks, Elvin Nimrod, Justin Francis, and Chester Humphrey, now president, all voted in favor of the motion. In part 2 of this column, we will tell the people the results of Mitchell's renegotiations and how Mitchell and Bowen's vendetta continue to harm our country more than 20 years later. Pilgrims, pilgrims, pilgrims. I bet you're looking forward to part 2. Now, just before we move along here, let me say hi to the pilgrims. Say, hey, Mags, how you doing, girl? Arthur Langine is there, and Sean out there in the Azores. Donna Joseph, Benedict Cador. Ashton Fletcher says, happy Tuesday from a very wet Louisville, Kentucky. On the topic of health care, there is a big issue with Grenadians abroad helping to bring medical supplies to help the nursing homes and hospitals in Grenada. However, some of these supplies have been sitting on the docks, rusting. Oh boy, where have I heard that before? Where have I heard that before? According to one of the donors, 2 dialysis units were shipped for some time now and up to this day cannot be accounted for. That matter, Ashton, may have been resolved over the past couple of days. I'm not sure, but it may have. Fitzroy Adams is saying good morning from a rainy Brooklyn, and Kipling is sending his blessings to everyone as usual. Now, speaking about health care, alarming stories about the state of Grenada's healthcare system continue to surface. There just seems to be no end in sight. Here are a couple of posts which appeared yesterday on Facebook. I'm quoting them verbatim. The first is from someone named Tony Benji Allard about an incident in St. David, and I'm quoting here for you, okay? So I was just informed that there is no ambulance service for the district of St. David on a weekend. Reason given is there are no nurses for that shift. So, in other words, St. David district citizens are not allowed to get sick on a weekend. I called for medical assistance for my grandmother, my father's mother, and got none. She sadly died today, that's yesterday, with no medical assistance, despite our many calls. Grenada, we need to push for better medical care and response in this country. Our government is failing us, unquote. That's the first of the 2 quotes that I told you about. Second one, Siobhan Benjamin, a media colleague, responded to that first post by saying the following, I quote, "I can relate. About 7 months ago, my friends had an accident. A van knocked him off his bike. My bestie came and picked me up and went back to the scene. When I got there, I asked the police if they had called the ambulance. He said yes, but that the driver was not answering." Where have we heard that before? After almost half an hour, we decided to take him to the hospital for ourselves. When we got to the hospital, we met 2 ambulances parked by the emergency. So me, with my bold self, asked one of the drivers, "Why didn't you respond to the accident, since the driver of the one in St. David's could not be found?" Mr. Man told me, "The ambulance is for town, not St. David. And the one they lend to us in St. David should have responded." So hear me now. Lend? He says, "Yes. We lend all you because St. David's don't have." Do you believe what you just heard? Do you? Yeah, man. Things are booming here in the Grens, especially in the area of healthcare. So, that's it for healthcare and the Grand Lake issue this morning. Let's keep an eye on those, okay? Now, let's see here. Fitzroy James is saying good morning. Donna Joseph says, "George, when every member of this cabinet can hop on a plane and go overseas for their medical treatment, do you expect that they would be interested in making healthcare better?" Where have I heard that before, Donna? Same old, same old. Keep hearing that story. Margaret says, "Medical care will not improve until the policymakers are subjected to the same medical care that ordinary Grenadians are subjected to. In other words, government ministers and politicians should not be allowed to leave the island for care." Max, terrific idea, Max. You know, George, he ain't holding his breath. He ain't holding his breath. I mean, come on. Jeez. Benedict Cador said, "I heard of an incident where the director, or whatever title she holds, told someone from Carriacou that they should have some friend or family members go to the hospital in St. George's to clean their mother. That happened last week." Yeah. All right, pilgrims. Let me take a little break here. I'll give you guys some time to recuperate, okay? Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you cannot ignore the realities.
This summer, make your dreams a reality with a Co-op Bank Summer Sizzle Loan. Get up to $20,000 and qualify for a chance to win a staycation at Silver Sands. Go on a vacation, enjoy the carnival season, have your dream wedding, or make home improvements. Make this summer sizzle with everything you want it to be. Visit your nearest retail banking unit for more details. Special terms and conditions apply.
Welcome home. Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company. Tell your friends, tell your family. We cover household as comprehensive, motor and even fire
Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Boy, yo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say, kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kite threads conduct electricity. Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GRENADA. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Vendom RC tops 2019 CPEA exams. Details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Monday, June 17th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Following an unexpected delay, there was much excitement across the Tri-Island Monday as students and educators anxiously awaited the release of the CPEA results. There was great jubilation among several schools who made it into the top 3 positions, some for the first time. One of these schools, Vendom RC, is in celebratory mood after one of its own topped the 2019 CPA exams. Kamaya Richards scored 490 points to take the top position. It was just 1 point more than that scored by Samuel Roberts of Montrose SDA, Hope Diali of Samaritan Presbyterian, and Joseph De Sousa of Westmoreland Junior School, who all scored 489 points to tie for second place. Eden Otway of Alpha Junior placed the 5th with 488 points, while Dwight Gibbs from St. Andrew's Methodist, Micah Pinnock of St. George's Anglican, and Leanne Williamson of Westmoreland Junior placed 6th with 487. The 9th position was taken by Nicole Penny of Alpha Junior with 486 points, while position number 10 was taken by Aisha Peters of St. George's Anglican and Khalil Rahman of Westmoreland Junior with 483 points. Annette Moore, Public Relations Officer in the Ministry of Education, caught up with the excited students and filed this report.
Kamaya Richards of Vendom RC scored a total of 490 points out of a possible 500 points to place first in the island in this year's CPEA. She felt that her best performance was in math and science. In the new school term, she will attend the St. Joseph's Convent St. George.
I heard the teachers making a lot of noise, so I went to see what it was, and my teacher came and told me I came first in the island. I felt very excited and proud. I did a lot of studying in my books and a lot of practice.
Kamaya had some advice for next year's CPA students.
I would like to tell them to put a lot of effort in their work and do lots of practice.
Second place was shared by 3 students from both public and private primary schools who each scored a total of 489 points. They are Samuel Roberts of the Montrose SDA School, Hope Diali of the Samaritan Presbyterian School, and Joseph De Sousa of the Westmoreland Junior School.
Miss Frederick, our teacher, came in the class and announced that I had placed second in the island, and I was very excited, yes. Yeah. Yeah, the joy just came over me and I had to jump and scream. It was very good to know the results. First of all, I must thank God. Yes, God really helped me through these times, and I prayed a lot and hard work. Yes, I've been studying for a long time. I am very interested in medicine, and I would like to become a dermatologist in the future. I love working with the skin, and I think it will be a great career for me. I would like to thank all the teachers who encouraged me and helped me and supported me through these times, and they have been a great help towards me getting this position I was in the island.
Samuel Roberts will be moving on to the Grenada SDA Comprehensive Secondary School, while his pair at the Samaritan Presbyterian, who was similarly thrilled at the news, will go on to the MacDonald College.
I was in my class and the principal called me outside and he said, you came second in the island. I was overjoyed. I studied every day and I had confidence in myself. I would like to become a veterinarian because I love animals and I love helping them. I would like to thank my mommy and I'd like to thank my grandma, my teachers, my principal, my friends for helping me, Mr. Hutchinson, and yeah.
Hope also had words of wisdom for other students.
I'd like to tell them that you just need to study very hard and have confidence in yourself that you can do it.
Westmoreland's Joseph D'Souza spoke with us about his achievement.
I'm very happy. I studied by reviewing my work and trying to understand it and practicing. I want to thank God and my family members and teachers for supporting me and teaching me. I'm going to recommend to students to study their work and try to understand it and go through their books to practice what they don't know.
Joseph, who will go on to Westmoreland Secondary, is currently interested in a career in the sciences.
Probably an engineer because I like to build things and be creative.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
The results were released on Saturday night. Education Minister Honorable Emmeline Pear commended the staff at the ministry who came out to work on Sunday to ensure that they were processed to go to Cabinet to be issued on time. 1,799 students were assigned to secondary schools. This number comprises 902 males and 897 females. 147 students were retained at the primary school, 41 females and 109 males. The highest score attained in the assessment was 490 out of a maximum possible score of 500 as compared to 481 in 2018. 92.4% of the CPEA candidates writing the assessment scored 50% or above in the assessment. This reflects a 3.2 increase against 2018's 89.2% achieving the same mark. In the external and internal component, students performed the best in science. Several principals, teachers, and parents of the top performing schools expressed their satisfaction with this year's results.
When the phone rang and somebody said we came first in the island, I couldn't even move. So I was so excited.
I can say we performed exceedingly well. We always do, but this is our best so far.
I just look at my past years, I go through the data, and I see where the students was making errors, and we work a lot more on those areas.
I am happy with the results. For me, I always look at if I send, let's say, 27 students, I want all 27 to be successful. I generally would like all of them to have averages of 75% and above. And I'm happy to say I'm very happy with the 100% passes. I would also like to wish all the other schools, Venda, Morrissey, and the other schools are top performers, congrats on a job well done.
I am really happy that the staff really worked. We worked as a team to ensure we have good results at this school. So I am really happy and I look forward to greater results in the future.
I feel very excited about the results this year. We worked really hard. We started our CPA components from grade 5. We were engaged in after school lessons. We gave lessons in the vacation, and from April up until the exam, we were engaged in a lot of practice papers, so I'm quite satisfied with the performance of the students.
It's great news. We have always done well over the years. We've been having students in the top 100 and the top 200. It's been a while we haven't had someone in so high up.
Well, I was happy when I heard her result, but I expected her to do well. She's a very hard-working young lady, and she's self-determined. She does her work sometimes even before I have to help or ask.
We are really elated, and we are very happy. We are just rejoicing, everyone. We had a nice little match just a while ago, celebrating, going down to the streets and coming back up, celebrating this news.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Every summer, the Spice Island of Grenada is transformed into the Caribbean's biggest party, Spice Man. Coming down to Grenada. Come experience the warmth of our people, trending theme fats, the revelry, the pageantry, and why we are the Jab Nation. The Kids Our Future shines on August 3rd in the Children's Carnival Frolic and the Junior Calypso Show. 7 beauties take center stage as the Queen of Carnival is crowned on majestic Thursday, August 8th. The prestigious Soca and Groovy Monarchs are crowned on Carnival Friday night, August 9th. Enjoy the pulsating rhythms of the Still Pan at the Junior and the Senior Panorama on Carnival Saturday, August 10th, and Real Steel, August 17th. The March Gras crowns the Calypso Monarch on Carnival Sunday, August 11th. 2 days of frolicking in the Caribbean sun kicks off on Monday morning, August 12th, with the biggest juve in the world, followed by pageant and Monday night mass. The creativity and splendor of our mass parades on the road Carnival Tuesday, August 13th. Join us in the Jab Nation of Grenada, August 8th to 12th for Spice Mass 2019. Many events, one carnival.
Welcome back. Chairman of the Council for Foreign and Community Relations, Grenada's Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Peter David, has called for mutual support between CARICOM and Cuba to ensure a more equitable, sustainable and just global environment. Minister David was addressing delegates at the opening of the 6th meeting of Ministers of Foreign Affairs of CARICOM and Cuba in Guyana. CARICOM prizes highly the links it has built with Cuba over the years through technical cooperation at bilateral and regional levels, trade and economic ties, the mutuality of interest and concerns in regional, hemispheric and international fora, and the fraternal spirit that comes to the fore in times of disaster. Minister David emphasized the importance of creating stronger bonds in the face of regional turbulence that threatens growth and development. According to Minister David, the institutionalization of the CARICOM-Cuba relationship following the first summit in 2002 has contributed significantly to the development of several CARICOM member states.
The history of our cooperation has been marked by Cuba's generosity towards our region, which has resulted in the boosting of our human capital in many areas and technical assistance to enhance our social, economic, cultural, and sporting sectors. This relationship is a fine example of South-South cooperation. It is my expectation that the same vitality that pervades the above-mentioned areas will be transferred to our trading arrangements where there is scope for much improvement. I can assure you, Minister, that the Caribbean community will continue its tradition of diplomatic support to Cuba in international fora as we work together to ensure a more equitable and just global environment.
CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque says improving trade relations between both parties remain a critical issue if both are to maintain growth and development.
In November 2017, I had the pleasure to sign on behalf of CARICOM the second protocol to the Trade and Economic Cooperation Agreement with Cuba, which expanded preferential access to both parties. It is our hope that discussions at this meeting will provide an opportunity to advance measures needed to give effect to the protocol. There are other matters related to improving trade relations which call for discussion at the level of the Joint Commission, which last met in 2017. I believe that the Joint Commission should meet as soon as possible to build on the momentum from this meeting.
That story just ended the National Report for today, Monday, June 17th. Let's recap the top story. Vendome RC tops 2019 CPEA exams. On behalf of everyone here at the Government Information Service who has made this newscast possible, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Alrighty, good day to you, Ryan. Thank you very much for joining us. And good day to you, Mr. Darbo, who's also joining us. Folks, while you were watching that piece there from the GIS, a couple of comments came in which I thought were really nice. There was one from Kipling Francis. And hold on, let me show you that. Yeah, Kipling says, are those the same condemned teachers who are getting those well-deserved praises? Oh boy, hypocrites. So says Kipling. Yeah, Kipling, I am so happy to see that the teachers have been acknowledged. Now here's another one from Margaret Francis. Now, when I told you guys some time ago that Margaret is fair, some of you probably thought, you're just buttering her up because she's your friend. No, Margaret is fair. Margaret bitches whenever she has to about the GIS reporting, but look, take a look. She says here, nice reporting in the CPEA story. The lady is fair. Now, here's something that doesn't have anything to do with the CPEA. This has to do with a health issue we were talking about a little while ago. Cassandra Mitchell says, a couple of years ago, I made an emergency call to the General Hospital requesting medical assistance. I was told that the ambulance doesn't respond to emergencies outside of St. George's, and I needed to contact the St. David Police Station. The officer who took the report told me that the ambulance driver wasn't answering his phone and proceeded to give me his number. That's the ambulance driver's number. Who had to have a shower, dress, pick up a district nurse, and a warden. Bottom line, the victim died. Hey? I asked you a little while ago, when does it end? I don't know. No end in sight. Now, I'll tell you, he is here this morning, Mr. Ray Roberts. And because this gentleman has to take off, he has to do some running around, and I thought, look, hey, why don't we just try and get Ray on a little bit earlier this morning. So rather than going to a break here, I'm going to bring him up on the screen right away. Take a look. Good morning, Ray. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad, George. I would say pretty okay. Looking ahead to the day and the week, plenty of activities, actually.
Yeah, you said you're going to do some presentation this morning?
Yes, we're going to be, again, continuing with the initiative to take Paralympics to as many people as possible. So we're going to be talking about a bit of Deaflympics this morning, which is sort of related to Paralympics, but we're going to do a presentation with some of the parents and students and teachers with the school for the deaf at the stadium.
So we're sort of seeing a light at the end of the tunnel for
Paralympics. I would hope so. I would hope so.
And I'm not just saying this because he's my friend, but let me say thank you for the work that you're doing. Very quietly, you're getting a lot done. Ray, listen.
Tell me.
I mean, it would be really dumb of me not to start, or to start with something else rather than the West Indies.
Well, I'm going to say a bit about it this morning because we've been talking about it and we've been creating the fanfare of, if not champions, but going to be the dangerous group of cricketers going through this World Cup. But that danger has already faded. We have become a very team hurricane. I doubt there'll be light at the end of the tunnel.
So you think that might be the end for the Windies?
Well, having been beaten, spanked that badly by Bangladesh, I mean, the Bangladeshis were given a target of 323, and that's the highest run target they have had to chase, and they got it with plenty balls to spare.
Well, come on, but let's be fair. To give them a target of 323, the batsmen performed.
Yes, they performed, and we didn't look like we were the cricketers that perhaps we all thought we were. I mean, it's amazing. Shakim Al-Hassan, he just destroyed us. I mean, he just unleashed a debutant Das, showed no mercy on our best bowlers. He raced into the 90s with, 60-something balls.
Yeah.
So we really looked terrible, and even worse, our team selection and our coaches and whoever the others are, at the end of it looked like they certainly did not use their brain, because you played an injured player who made zero, couldn't run about in the field, and couldn't bowl at his best. So you really went in with 10 players instead of the maximum 11 players.
Okay.
So it showed up on us. And I think one lesson that is clear to us, I'm one of those who welcomed the removal of Cameron as president. I think he was a little too egotistic. But it shows that winning is perhaps the easiest thing. But when you win, perhaps you need to think a little, because Skerrett won. As he entered the door, he fired everybody left, right, and center. You just had a team that beat England in the Test series, and then you had a contest in the one-day series, very close, and then you came in and you fired the selectors, you fired the coaches, and you bring in a new team.
Okay.
And here is what it is. So it seems to me that it's perhaps the best lesson for us, because you did that within, 6 weeks of the World Cup. So maybe the new staff could not have put the best minds together, or blend the minds together. You perhaps had the best players, but blending them together was another a challenge. So we saw the end result of winning and just making, in my opinion, arbitrary changes.
Well, okay, so are you indirectly saying that, hey, all the hoopla about Skerrett coming in at the top now may not have been that justified? I see a smile on your face.
It's justified in the sense that I think you had a guy who too much in the front, and I don't think he fits the bill of leadership. But the point I want to make, we made that change, but here we made a change, and the replacement just went in there and said, look, I'm going to clear the deck. Whoever is on the deck, I want to see a new group of people. Not considering that the group of people who the old president might have employed might have done, well, perhaps they were doing they were doing a decent job. And you just dismiss them and you appoint your entire new crew. So it shows that sometimes we need to think and be a little more tolerant. And even though the person may not be on our side, or we perceive that, it may be best to give them a chance, because you listen to some of the elders who wanted to see the president exit, and they were saying the same thing. Andy Roberts was saying the same thing. He thought it was a little amateurish to just dismiss the coaches and the staff who just proved to you that they were worthy of being there. By England is the rated team in the world, the number one rated team, and you held them to a 2-all draw, and you just clear the deck. So it's a lesson to learn, but I'm glad to see Bangladesh, who a couple of years ago, they were just bringing up the rear. They certainly look more than an ordinary group of cricketers coming to enjoy the beauty of a country. They are now in the business and they look like a team that could create some upset or could be the giant killers.
Time will tell.
Time will tell, I'm sure about that.
Kipling Francis says, Ray, it's not our best bowlers. It's who we think are our best bowlers.
No, they're our best bowlers. I mean, there's only one criteria. If I beat you, I'm the best. There's no other criteria. Technically, you may be more equipped than me, but I beat you. So there is only one result. That's life. Life is judged in terms of the material world and results. So there is no doubt about it. The people who they employed, I think generally they are the best. I think what sometimes is missing, are we able to blend everybody together? Are we able to bring out the best in everybody and motivate them individually and then collectively? That sometimes, that's the problem. You know, you may have 12 people or 11 footballers, 11 cricketers, or the 3 tennis players, and they may be so far apart after each game they go in a different seat or they sit there and they see nothing to each other. And then there are others who may not be that strong, but you can see how they're fighting for each other. And that's what I think the people like Andy Robertson were talking about, that Red Spurrier said the same thing too, that we should consider that this guy had these players together for 6 weeks, and they did click. They were less in value in terms of the rankings, in terms of the bookmakers, but they proved that the bookmakers had to look for something else. Yeah.
All right, Ray, let me ask you, I know you don't have a lot of time this morning, so let me ask you this. You know, despite the heart-wrenching defeat the West Indies took this week, they still have 4 games to play.
Yes, and they must win all 4.
If they win all 4,
possibility exists.
To the finals?
Yes, no, semifinals.
Semifinals.
Remember, other teams are playing, so there may be upsets, there may be setbacks. Rain may interrupt some games like India had. So there could be a number of factors that could create opportunities for you. But you must win the 4 games. And the one thing I would say to you, and there's one other thing I want to say before we conclude. Let's salute Dr. Wilshire and Sharon. I know that he left England and he left these guys to the Lions, and that's what, they are the Tigers. Bangladesh, they call themselves the Tigers. So, Doc, you left a little too early. Had you stayed, I'm sure the Caribbean would have had a greater incentive in seeing you there. Doc, I want to, George, I want to salute our media workers. I think they're celebrating Media Week. I don't think both of us are invited, but I want to say, I want to salute them because it's good to see they are keeping up the tradition, and I hope that apart from the celebrations, the good times, I hope they will take time to reflect on the profession and look at it in the sense that, to me, there are many things that we need to champion, and if you ignore them, well, the consequences are going to be down the road.
I'm still keeping hope alive as far as the Media Workers Association is concerned. We need them, but we need an independent media community here in Grenada. Before we move away from cricket, Fitzroy Adams says, Ray, this is the way we operate in the Caribbean, from governments downwards.
Well, I agree with him. You know, we do that across the islands, maybe Barbados, maybe a little exception, and some extent Jamaica too. But in the small islands, I mean, you win tonight, and you fire the police commissioner, you fire the cabinet secretary, you fire everybody the next day. You get a big broom, and Fitzroy, you certainly hit the nail on the target. Just sweep everybody out, regardless of what your track record may be.
All right, buddy. I know that you asked me to let you out of here at 8 minutes to, and it's now 10 minutes to, so you got 10 minutes. Anything else you want to spit off your chest this morning?
Well, not much more than to say that we certainly would want to see more cricket play in the Caribbean. I mean, there is no question about it. You listen to all the countries where cricket has become more than just a game. it is part of the economic growth of individual people. But what is being stressed, and I hope people in the Caribbean are listening, we have to play more cricket. There must be a domestic program that is competitive, that is well organized. It can't be just, the school tournament and two little community games.
You've been calling for that for a long time, right?
Yes, but we're not seeing it, and that is what, to me, is the hindrance in Caribbean sports, and mainly in the OECS, because Guyana is doing a good job, and there's something in Trinidad and Jamaica, but to me, the small islands, it's not consistent. I mean, there isn't any two-day tournament in Grenada. There's 20, 35 overs. That's not going to produce world-class players. Yes, 2 or 3 youngsters may look good in front of the camera at 12, 15, 16, but there's a development phase, and a very serious phase when you reach 18 to make that jump into the senior league. So I think I would hope not just the Cricket Association, but community organizers and Ministry of Sports and Physical Education, I would hope they would listen to some of the comments that we hear from the commentators in the World Cup.
What's lacking, the resources or the will?
The will, and to me, too many things now don't have workers. What you have are academics with papers, and I'll tell you the truth, not many people read any of it, including the writers. It's just a good fanfare for the international world. They require some of these pieces of literature, but I don't know that, I'm always around, and I don't know that many people refer to them in a discourse. So I think what we need are workers who would interpret the information and put it to work. And the work must not be just, let's take football, for example. We have about $1 million US a year we get from FIFA. We travel the world, all the officials. We are ranked 176. When we got less than, had a very little, we were ranked, 85 in the world. So that's not helping us. We have a big building. It's not doing much. So that's the point I'm making. We may be doing brilliant writing and exciting the world that these small islands can write well and produce documents. But look at our rank. We are 176, they're 210 in the world. So we 30-something from the bottom. So that's what I'm talking about. We need to see workers, boots on the ground. When we get that, I think, we'll surprise bigger nations like we did with Kurani and Lyndon Victor, and now there's Anderson Peters, who has the 3rd or 2nd best throw in the world in the javelin. So he's going to Doha, not as a spectator hoping to do well. The world is on him because why? He is performing. And that's what we need.
Don't forget Aishana.
Right, and Aishana she's leaving next month to go to the United States to do some training again.
All right, you leave now.
Right.
I don't ever relish asking you to leave a program, but I understand that you.
Yes, I gotta go to the stadium. Yeah.
So have a good trip down and a successful presentation.
We'll keep in touch, my friend.
Okay, man. Thanks a lot.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, Mr. Ray Roberts, take a break.
A natural disaster can change your life in minutes. Preparation is the best protection for your family and business. Prepare now. Create a disaster plan and make sure everyone knows what to do. Store water, non-perishable food, and medication. Remember basic emergency supplies such as batteries and flashlights. Trim overhanging trees. If trees near power lines are unsafe to trim, call GRENADA at 237 for assistance or advice. Install surge protectors to safeguard your electrical devices against outages and intermittent surges. For more information, visit grenlec.com.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
My name is Kizzy Marisha. I've been a confectionery maker 16 years now. Well, as a child growing up, my grandmom always make fudge and always make any candies, cakes, as I remember. And I always have an interest in that, It's like when I'm in the kitchen, I'm very happy. If you're making coconut fudge, you just grate the coconut, you squeeze the milk, and then you strain it, and then you add your sugar, and then you put it to boil. And then after, when you reach a certain stage, you get thick, so you got to beat it. Then after, when you beat it, you pour it out, and then wait for a few minutes to get hard, and then you slice it, you cut it, and then after you break it up, and then you package it. Yeah. Providing food fair is 16 years now. I remember when I just go drop it in the fudge. I was a bit younger too, and I met Miss Harris. So I went here and I said, I have a product here, some fudge. I was wondering if y'all would be interested to take some fudge or candies from me. I showed her, she said, you look very nice, So she said, I'll try it. So she told me to bring back some another day. So that's when I started, but Miss Harris took it from me. And then they would start, I had a good relationship with them. Of course, I felt special, at least somebody taking my thing local, and, other people can see it, because if I just have it, much people come, a lot of people comes in, they're foreigners. So it was kind of special, And especially when I go in there, all the workers, it's very nice to me. If I pass and they say, Kizzy, you bringing anything this week for the thing finish? They always look out for me. That's what I like. The atmosphere is nice in there. My name is Kizzy Marshall. I work with Food Fair to provide you with sweet treats.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
This summer, make your dreams a reality with a Co-op Bank Summer Sizzle Loan. Get up to $20,000 and qualify for a chance to win a staycation at Silver Sands. Go on a vacation, enjoy the carnival season, have your dream wedding, or make home improvements. Make this summer sizzle with everything you want it to be. Visit your nearest retail banking unit for more details. Special terms and conditions apply.
Alrighty, folks, time to bail. But first, parting word from the Holy Scriptures. And this morning it comes to you from the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 to 9. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, I quote, "The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for people to see. They make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and to be called rabbi by others. But you are not to be called rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth Father, for you have one Father, and he is in heaven." Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 to 9. On that note, pilgrims, by the way, time to say bonsoir and thank you for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure. You have a great day. May God bless you. And by His grace, let's get together again tomorrow morning for the next edition of Good Day, Grenada.